I actually had a personal experience happen to me when I was 9. I thought you would be interested in it, so here it is. This happened to me when I went to my home country with my mom for vacation to meet my relatives, and my dad was still working at the time. We were in the city where my oldest cousin's brother, who was 11 at the time, and his parents lived. We all were coming back from another relative's house at around 2:30 or 3 a.m. While we were going back to our house in my cousin's car, that's when a guy, probably in his 30s, came running to our car, and my uncle, cousin's dad, stopped the car, and the guy started knocking on the window. So my uncle rolled down the window and asked, "What's wrong?" To which the guy replied, panting, saying he needed a ride, and my uncle was about to say yes, when my mom said in our language so that he wouldn't understand that, "There are kids in the car, don't take the risk." Then my uncle apologized and said it was too late and we were in a hurry as well, but he kept begging, so my uncle had to drive past him. And while we were leaving, that's when my cousin and I saw from the back windows 5 men with weapons in their hands, and the guy talking to them, looking at us and pointing towards us, and started following us, but after a while, they stopped. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. Thank God we reached home safely, but I couldn't stop thinking that what if my uncle had agreed and my mom hadn't stopped him? And what if we had stopped even for a single moment when they followed us? Would I have lived to tell this story?
I'm currently 36, but this happened when I was 18. I was a high school graduate. I was working at a job, not a big job, but a minor job. I obviously didn't want to work at McDonald's. The only job that was less crappy was at Costco. So I decided to go work there. I was interviewed by the manager, and before I knew it, I got the job. My position was a cashier. My first 2 weeks were great. But that was when I met James. James was 63 years old. He said he'd served his time in the military and was in the Korean War. He seemed like a nice guy at first, until he started to smell like garbage most days. When the store reached its 10-year anniversary, we all went to James's house. The moment we entered James's house, it smelled like shit. When it was time to eat, James came out with what looked like tomato soup, judging by the color. But when we ate it, it tasted funny. After the party, while I was driving home, I felt like I was going to sleep. I don't remember much, but the next morning I woke up in a hospital bed. My mom was crying and my dad shook his head and was nodding side to side. Then a doctor came into my room saying that I crashed into a pole. I suffered a broken arm. Then I remembered James's soup. I told the doctor to call the cops. When they arrived, I gave them my statement. To my knowledge, they went to James's house and found him eating the arm of a human. He was arrested on the spot. As it turns out, he was a serious murderer. He was sentenced to life in prison. To this day, I think back to when I considered him a coworker.